Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today I'm going to be doing the second half of my What Sold, which will be for last weekend. I moved my list. May 6th. May. Where is May? We don't want May. May was not a good month. Okay, June 6th to June 8th. And y'all, wow, this weekend was crazy. Friday was probably, since we sold that $2,000 visually impaired item, the My Eye, years ago, this was my highest day since. And that day was the highest ever. So this is my second highest ever. And then even it kind of followed over into Saturday. Saturday was way above normal. And then there was Sunday. Sunday was below average. So this, and then this has just continued. This week's been okay.
Yep.
Well, but today is today's
14th.
the day. Well, yeah, we're going to be releasing this video tomorrow. So June 14th. I didn't get my first sale till like 12:50 this morning. Today, 12:50 this afternoon. So just you never know what's going on with eBay.
All right, y'all. This is where I need to chime in here and say, don't be like Rebel in this regard. What you really need to be looking at is your 30-day and your 90-day. Not your 1 day, and especially not your
worst.
Sales have been terrible for the past 2 hours.
All morning.
But what you need to look at is, how am I doing this year? How are my sales the past 90 days? How are they the past 30 days? How are they the past week? And today, who knows?
Today's not over.
Today's not over. It's a long way. But what's going on today? Is it Super Bowl Sunday? Is it World Series? We got a big NASCAR race. What's going on today that might have people, Memorial Day weekend, Independence Day weekend, might have people out barbecuing and grilling and
right.
at the lake or the beach or whatever. So don't fret over 1 day if you have. Now, if you normally sell 20 items a day and you're at 8 p.m. and you've sold nothing, okay, maybe there's something going on that, like, is did you miss a message about your store being something wrong? And you're suddenly banned on eBay, or maybe eBay's just
that doesn't
out
happen
really
as bad as like on Poshmark and Mercari.
No.
I got banned on both of them at any time, and they were for no reason. They never apologized, nothing. Just one day I wake up and my account is closed down, and then a few days later it reappeared. So, but I've not ever had that happen with eBay. Thank goodness. There's positives to that. But yeah, let me go ahead. There was something else I was going to say, but
You were rudely interrupted?
yeah, you broke my train of thought. I don't know. So let me go ahead and show you what sold on Etsy and eBay.
I got to interrupt one more time before we do this. How were yard sales today? No, let me tell the story. We showed up at the church yard sale at 8 a.m., which didn't start till 9. Okay, we got there at 7.
We got there at 7:30.
And the guy's like, yeah, we don't start until 9 because they've got like early mass going on.
Usually that's me. That's a me thing to do. But no, this time it was him.
No, this was you, because you're the one that told me when it was.
No, you never asked me, and I never looked. We just assumed, I think, that it would start at 8 o'clock, like most church sales. But continue on.
I'm
blaming you.
It's still your fault. So then we're like, well, we got like an hour and a half. We need to be back in like an hour. We can drive all the way over onto the other end of town to a yard sale that she said, which is like, it was like 15 minutes away. And she's the one with the app looking at where it is and when it starts at 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock.
When we're there at like 8 or 7:50.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was the kind of day. But we ended up at the church sale, and it ended up being okay. Got a few toys, mostly for my wall, and some clothes.
Saw Courtney and her friend Tasha there.
Yes. So let me go ahead and show you. I had 2 sales on Etsy, and that was last weekend. We are in this weekend, a week later. I haven't sold anything since on Etsy, and I have been listing 10 a day consistently for several weeks now, so I'm a little disappointed. But these two sales were good, so you know it'll all even out, I guess. First thing that sold was one of the Bluebird Polly Pocket play sets that I picked up when we were in Nashville for the Nashville Reseller Meetup. And I Google Lensed all the little figures that I found, and these two actually went with this building. It is the Pizza Parlor from 1993. I think I've got all of the Polly Pockets over on Etsy now. There may be a few that were like, I try to keep it at $15 and up, just because. And so there may be a few that were under that didn't go. But this set ended up selling for $31.45.
That was from the Nashville Reseller Meetup. I'm going to plug the East Tennessee Reseller Meetup that our friend Ben and his group, the Reseller Locker Room Podcast, is having.
September
26th through the 28th, I think it is. It's going to be here in Greenville. So come see us, y'all.
Yep.
And we'll have lots of fun. We got, we'll go to Tipton's. Maybe we'll just like have a food tour instead of a reselling tour. We'll just go eat at the good places. We'll get us some fried honey buns at Tipton's. And then we'll go get some ice cream from Troyer's. Well, it's actually custard, frozen custard, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get us the best shakes in town. It's kind of a chain. It's regional. At Cookout, they have the most amazing shake. They got like 30 or 40 flavors of them. Mm-hmm. If you get the cheesecake, they put a whole slice of cheesecake in their cheesecake shake.
Are you hungry?
I think I need to go get... But I always go over and get chocolate.
Yeah. You got me flabbergasted.
Do I need to go get you a shake?
Maybe. All right, and then, although this says $71.95, I actually took a $60 offer on this toy. It is a Russ Twiddle Turtle plush. That was a music wind-up type one. And like I said, I took a $60 offer on it. And then eBay. First thing that sold was this Dalmatian dog plush from TB Trading Company. It was supposed to make sounds, no longer was. Sold for $8.96. Thank goodness for the bread and butter. Kelly Toy Pink Elephant Rattle Lovey. Sold for $8.05. All right. Kurt Adler Carolyn Critters Cow Plush. We just picked this up, I think, at an estate sale or something. I don't remember. It was working, and it sold very, very quickly. $22.45. Robert picked this up on his way passing back through St. Louis near the Bends when he was coming home from this last trip he and RJ went on. Sold very quickly. This is Disney Special Agent Oh-So Bear, and he sold for $22.45. All right, Hasbro My Little Pony Newborn Lot. I was one of those that I think I picked up one or two somewhere, and I had some listed, and I decided to make a lot of all of the newborn ponies. And they ended up selling for a best offer of $40. Y'all, look what sold. I picked this up at the Sasha Doll estate sale. I want to say I paid $20 or $30 for it. It was in a little display case. Never would I have ever thought that it was something like this. But it was from 1997, and it sold for $224.95.
I think you found this while I was standing there and the lady and I were counting everything up.
Mm-hmm.
You just wandered off and looked at stuff you hadn't looked at before.
Yep, there was a little box, and this was in it, and I think that Lennox Spice Jar was in it, and that I added those two things to the pile.
So if you're waiting on somebody, you could, scroll social media, or you could watch some YouTube, or maybe
keep looking.
She mentioned that My Eye thing earlier. That's how I found the My Eye. We were at an estate sale. She was still looking at something, and I wandered off into a room and started looking at stuff I didn't know what it was. And y'all, I'm used to looking here when I'm talking because the camera's not on me, but I gotta get used to looking at the camera and not the monitor. So
yep.
Yeah, just if you get the chance, go look at stuff. But I don't always go look at stuff. Sometimes I stop and scroll social media because I need a mental break.
Yep. All right. Again, making lots of figures, everything. Anything that I can think of, I have started putting into lots. As I like find one thing, I'll go look to see if I have any others listed. And then I've been taking them down. Just the other day, I did all of my Disney Zoom Zooms. I've been doing it with, you know, some of the tie that I have, just anything that I can think of, all of the little people. And this set of 6 figures sold for $22.45. They were the Galactic Heroes from Star Wars. All right, Pottery Barn, little sheep basket. It almost was like one of those like storage. You would put it into a cubicle type thing, or sit it on a dresser full of diapers, something like that. But it ended up selling for $15. Old Navy women's denim shorts sold for $13.21. You know, I see posts all the time about people, other resellers poo-pooing Old Navy, that's my new word, poo-pooing, Old Navy and American Eagle, and yet we do so well with them. You know, maybe it's not the dollar value that others are searching for, but for me, you know, to pay, you know, 50 cents or $1 for a pair of shorts and sell them for $13.21, I'll do it all day long. All right, Jellycat Fuddle Wuddle Lion Plush. Was hoping it would be worth a whole lot more, but it ended up selling for $12. Probably a Ben's pickup, so not even, well, maybe $1 or so in it. Probably not, though. This was one of those little people that I just ended up leaving alone because it was so unique and so specialized to a specific set that I just kept it as a replacement. And it finally sold for $8.05. But it was this snowman from one of the winter play sets of 2019. I did not think that this puzzle was worth this much when we pick it up. We pick up a lot of puzzles. We don't check to see what they are going to sell for because we enjoy putting puzzles together. But this particular one is from the signature series of Disney parks. It was 1,000 piece of obviously Toy Story, and it ended up selling for $31.45.
That was kind of fun to put together.
That one was. Charles Schultz Peanuts paperback tradeback book lot. These were all in that Snoopy lot that we picked up this past last year. I think there was a few from something previous that I threw in with this, but it ended up selling for $44.95. Build-A-Bear. Anytime I have lots of them, I try to make a little outfit, you know, with top, bottoms, pair of shoes. And, you know, sometimes I can get $8 to $10 and sometimes a little bit more depending. This one just kind of was all sparkly. And they sold for $14.36. I don't know. The last time I sold one of these, somebody made a comment in my video that they sell these often for a whole lot more. But y'all, these have been listed since 2023. And I finally sold this little people, no, letter people, letter people U, they're like inflatables, finally for $13.47. It was probably one of those ones I sent out a 30 or 40% offer on. But I don't know. I guess we've talked about this in the past. Some people just do better with certain things. They sell them faster. They sell them for more. And then like this item for me, I had 2 of these and they took forever to sell. And they ended up selling, you know, at a steep discount from what I originally had it listed for.
People have commented on that, you know, you say that, you know, you buy Loveys, you sell Loveys, and they say, oh, well, they can't sell them. They say, I buy them, but they can't sell them. But there's stuff out there that they're going to sell that, like, maybe they're selling these things and we can't sell them for whatever reason. But I remember the letter people from when I was a kid.
I don't.
They were on PBS on, I want to say the Electric Company.
I liked that show. I remember watching that.
I think it was that or something like it, because there was one of those that had the letter people, and they used to have a little Spider-Man comic in it too, I think.
I don't know.
And
come and meet the letter people.
Morgan Freeman was in the Electric Company, wasn't he?
Don't remember.
Is that one of those in my brain? I'm pretty sure. Or Morgan Freeman was in it.
You're either going to be shown as having a really good memory or like out of your mind when this comes out. So.
Usually it's the latter. But I could have sworn Morgan Freeman was in that.
B is in 7, and V is in 11.
All right, Sanrio Hello Kitty Christmas ornament. I think this picked it up, you know, at either the bins or something, but for super cheap. Sold very well in about a month for $8. This was, you know, I always talk about picking up like doll things like bottles and pacifiers, shoes, clothes, all of that stuff. When I picked this up, I didn't realize what it went to, but it actually goes to a Just Play Water Baby pacifier doll. It's the pacifier for it. And it sold for $8.96. All right, little brown seal plush. Again, one of those things that have been listed forever. Would I pick it up again? Probably no. And it sold for $8.05. American Eagle men's jeans sold for $17. Boyd's Bears pink pig plush. I try to stay away from Boyd's for the most part unless I was to find like those little messenger bears. This took about almost a year to sell, and I took an offer of $10. Warthog, boar, plush, wild pig, all of the keywords, sold for $22.45. Rainbow, Beatrix Potter, Peter Rabbit plush, 13-inch, sold for $10. We the Free women's t-shirt. I think this was in that lot of clothes. Like the first time we ever found the higher dollar, the higher quality clothes. The first time we ever found them, I found that $200 sweater. But I think it was like the first time I ever found any of the Free People type stuff. But this shirt took forever to sell. $10.63. Levi's 469 men's cutoff shorts. I want to say originally these were not shorts, that they were cut off. You know, you just go with it. You'll see where it says 44 by, 32, and I just leave that part off and just call it cut off, right? They sold for $14.17. More stuff from the Peanuts lot. This is a Snoopy notepad and little teeny tiny mini address book. Sold for $15.26. Creating Manga Superheroes coloring books. Don't remember where we picked these up. I think they were bins pickups at some point. Took forever. I think I would be very, very careful picking up, manga or anime type comic books and stuff until you really check. Because to me, any that I've ever picked up seems to just take a really long time to sell. Finally sold these 3 for $12.20. Picked this up at my favorite little estate sale company. You did, right?
Yeah.
Paid like 50 cents for it. It is one Gerber like diaper cover pants. These were the type that snapped together on the side. The box was open, but you could tell by the way that it was folded, it had never really been used. Sold one thing for $17.05. It's funny though, because it was on sale for $17.95 and I got an offer of $17.05. But I think it was more about, I know people with the shipping and the taxes, they just want this round number. But yeah, it's always weird when you see something that's very close to your price. Creative Co-op Rabbit Lovey security blanket. Took a quick sale on this one. Took an offer of $20. Lego 111 Universal Building Set. It was incomplete. I think it's more about the box when you have these older sets. It's been listed since beginning of 2024, so when I got a $30 offer, I went ahead and accepted it. Pink Panther key ring. I think it was just in a Ben's pickup, just stuff I grabbed from the bottom of the bins, and it was a nice sell, $20. Gloria Vanderbilt Amanda jeans. Shani.
How do you sell these?
She sells them all the time. I could finally, I think this is my last one. Not something, if I could make a lot of money on them, we see them all the time. And not only one pair, it'll be 10 pair. But they take so dang long that we cannot pick them up. It's just not worth the effort, paying somebody to take pictures. Just no. But finally, sold the last pair, $10.
Got a question for y'all. What is the thing that you find all the time that if it would sell fast and for decent money that you would buy? You don't buy it because it doesn't. It either sells too cheap or you can't. Like these, they take forever. What's that thing you find? Like for us, if I could sell Gloria Vanderbilt and Maurice's, and they're basic editions and Rustler and Faded Glory, I would be living in a mansion.
Although, let me point out, I love Kaylee Elaine. I watch her quite often. And if you can find the basic edition and what was the last one you said?
Faded Glory.
Faded Glory, but they have a Y2K element to them. She's selling them. But I don't know enough. I'm learning. I'm trying. But don't again, poo-poo certain brands that you think, that's Walmart, or that's old Target, or, Kmart. Because some of them, if they have that Y2K or fairy, whimsy, cottagecore stuff. I mean, she was even selling Crown and Ivy and some other brands we see tons of. Yeah, you got to know the style-based stuff, and I don't yet.
If we knew that, yeah, of course.
But yeah, what is your thing that you see a lot that you just can't pick up because it's just not going to sell or not sell quickly? All right, this is one of those things where you take a bad experience and you just turn it around, kind of, sort of. I sold this Emson smoker pressure cooker, and it got damaged in shipment. I went ahead and had them return it to me, even though it was broken, because I knew I could sell the parts. This is just the lid. I've already sold something else, I think, that went to it, like the baskets. I've sold the baskets, and I think all I've got left is like the jiggler and a few other things that went to it. But, you have to contemplate that one, especially when they send you a picture and you see it's damaged. You just want them to throw it away, or you're going to pay to have it back. And this was just one of those times I knew it needed to come back because I could sell the parts. And the lid sold for $35.95. Hasbro Weebles little haunted house scared little girl. This was in that local pickup that I did of a bunch of vintage Play School, Hasbro, Fisher-Price stuff. Probably over half of it I kept to put on my wall that's not quite finished yet. But this was just one of those Weebles. I only kept a couple of the Weebles just for examples, plus the Tigger and the Winnie the Pooh. But this was one. I didn't need to keep it. And it sold for $10.01. Banana Republic women's jeans sold for $13.45. Another brand probably won't pick up because this took forever to sell.
I'll pick up the men's probably.
Maybe the men's yeah.
Jeans just seem to sell better than women's jeans. Faster and for better prices.
Yep. But luckily it didn't sell on a 40% off offer, which it was that old. This is White House Black Market. There was a time when I thought that was a really nice brand. But again, it takes a while to sell. This one did have its original paper tag. And it sold for $18. But it took a while. About 7 months. Seed bead little coaster set sold for $13.47 on one of my hefty offers. Make it gone, right? Tenacious Lenny, Sid, Rabbit, plush. Again, really, really old listing. And it finally sold $8.05. Y'all, here's what sold. 2 of them, same buyer. I was thrilled. My Sasha dolls. 2 of them sold. This one was Muriel, had her tube and her papers. Sold her on a best offer of $599. And then she also bought Ruth Goes to England. I found some extra stuff to go with her, you know, some postcards and info, but she was complete with her little suitcase and backpack and all of that, and she sold for $699. So that was thrilling because we spent $850 on just the Sasha dolls that weekend.
We spent like $1150 total.
Yeah.
And you have enough in this
Yes.
to cover. You have the, well, you got 7 and 6 is 13 plus 2 1/4. You got like 1525 just in 3 items in this what sold video.
Yeah, and I've sold other stuff.
Exactly. You
Lots
sold
of
another
other stuff.
at least one.
Oh, I've sold maybe two or three more Sasha dolls, but they were the lower dollar ones. So, you know, I want to say, I can't remember now. I may have to go back and look, but I think I had either 16 or 18 total dolls, and a few accessories. And we paid $850 for them. So we're going to have to figure out exactly what the dollar value was per, you know, if you, what's that called? Cost, when you break down the cost per item.
Unit cost.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm calling it. Unit cost.
Yep. So, yeah, that's nice. I mean, I still have some, at least 2 that were even more expensive than these listed. So hopefully by 4th quarter, as you know, the year progresses, I can sell, you know, a couple more of these and, you know, definitely be in the profit and saving up my money so that I can move to, not move to Florida, but
Halfway moved to Florida.
halfway move. Become a snowbird. That's my new ambition. Become a snowbird and go to Florida and source all winter and then come back home to the beautiful mountains of East Tennessee. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, just, you know, give me a weekend like that every couple of months, eBay. Just come on.
If you're wishing for stuff, let's have one every weekend.
Yeah, but I'd be happy with a weekend a month of just amazing sales and
Then some average.
and then some average, but the below averages need to
Stop.
chill. Just chill.
Okay. I got to speak mathematically here. You have to have below average days. Otherwise, that's how averages work.
Right.
Some are high, some are low. So you got to have that.
Okay, but I have a set dollar amount that I like to make every day, you know, and it's based on history. It's not that I want to make that much, but based on history, that's about my average over the years, you know, since I became a large store. And when you're way below that, it's a little disconcerting.
So every day above average from this day forward until we shut the store down.
Yeah, after I've sold one thing at 1:42 in the afternoon.
It's not 0.
It's not 0. Yep. All right, y'all. Get to work. Bye.
A, B, C, D, follow me.